What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon MLB DFS video. It is Friday, it is September 8th, and we are back with a full slate after a very not-so-good Thursday slate for baseball. We have football back. We're very excited for that, and hopefully all of your guys' bets hit for NFL. So if you are on DraftKings, they were giving away the not giving away, but the if you bet on the money line and that money line goes up 7 at any given point, you get paid out. So I went with Detroit money line because I got them at 235 a couple of days ago, and easy 150 there. Then it was very easy, got paid off pretty quickly. So hopefully you guys were in that same situation. If you were, let me know down below. Welcome for everyone who's been here before. Normally, we have giveaways every video. So anytime a video gets at least 50 likes, you leave a comment, you have a chance to win a week pass for DFS, brought to you by FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Anytime a video gets 100 likes, you have a chance to win a free month. 125 likes, chance to win a free year. And 150 likes is a chance to win a lifetime pass. Yesterday's video did not get to it. 49 likes. That's the first time in a very long time that a video has not gotten it. So I'm going to chalk that up to, football is back, and we weren't watching it. It wasn't a good slate either. So we are back. We're going to do the exact same thing this time. So let's get started. So we have 15 games on the day. Only 14 of them are playable on DraftKings. This game right here is early, or very early at 2:20. We can't play this one. We're not going to look into it. Probably if you are doing like the single game, I would look at both bats here. I think I'd mainly focus on Arizona bats a little bit more, just depending on the lineup that comes out. Ketel Marte, if Corbin Carroll's back in there, I like him. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. You got to get a little bit cheaper. Jordan Lawler just got called up, had a good debut game. So those are the bats that I would look at in this one. But we can't really focus on this one, so we are going to go on to the next game. So we've got the Cardinals at the Reds. Speaking of the Cardinals, if you looked at our top plays yesterday, towards the end of this video, we do simulation. So we'll have 2,000. We'll give you the top 10 players after simulating it 2,000 times, and then before lineups lock every day, we do 10,000 simulations, and you can see the change in that. So that being said, Ronald Acuna was our number one bat yesterday. 2 home runs off Waino. Wainwright didn't give up as many runs as I thought he would, but he did get rocked. Acuna hit a home run first at bat. So the plays and the simulations, they're doing pretty good. And we have a lot more information over at FantasyTeamAdvisors.com for NFL. We're very excited to bring you everything NFL. I actually have a player pool here. I write it down. So this is the player pool that I will be using specifically on DraftKings because that's where I mainly play. But there are different stipulations as to what players I like to pick. So I will be doing a video on that either today or on Saturday. It'll come out. I'm not sure when it'll come out yet, but I'm very, very excited for what I have here. I think you guys will be in for a treat, and we will look at them. We'll look at them on DraftKings as well. So very excited for that. Very excited for NFL, but you guys are here for baseball. So that being said, we got Drew Rom versus Andrew Abbott coming in here in Cincy. I don't know if I like this. This is a slate right here that I'm probably not playing the early only slate. You might play it. I just don't like this very much. We'll look at it real quick just to kind of get through it. But you got Drew Rom, it's 5,000 here. Game logs, 1.7. Had a good game against Philly, 16.4. Not a good game against Pittsburgh. So he's not. Pittsburgh had his number twice. Splits wise, again, he's on the road. Pitched, 2 of his 3 starts have come on the road. He has an 8 ERA. I would be looking at Cincy bats. And then on the other side, Abbott against St. Louis. Really just depends. Trying to see. He's faced him once this year, 5.2 innings, no earned runs, 4 Ks, but did have 3 walks. But had 20 fantasy points per game. So if he could get something like that again at this price of $9,700, would be perfect. So he is only $9,700, so he would be my number one pitcher there. But then we can look at the bats real quick. Mainly going to be focusing on the bats a little bit more. I think I really like Cincy bats. just a little bit more here while we are looking into it. We've got Marte would be in there, going to be a cheaper option. Ellie De La Cruz, I just think we know he can have good games. The problem is he's so expensive for what his output in the season. He came on strong to start the season. He's kind of fallen down since then a little bit, so still priced up there a lot. I might stick away from him. I might go Christian Encarnacion Strand a little bit. Will Benson, if he's in a favorable spot in the lineup there, I don't mind him. Tyler Stevenson against the lefty, I love him there if he starts. Hunter Renfroe against the lefty, I'll look at. Harrison Bader against the lefty is normally good. I think Bader's more of a tournament option, just really hasn't done much in a while. TJ Friedel, I would kind of look at. Nick Senzel a little bit too. So kind of looking at that. And then if you are going away and you want to go contrarian against Abbott, Wilson Contreras did not play on Thursday. He is really good against lefties. Didn't play against Max Fried. Whether or not, I don't think he's injured. I think it was just a day of rest. I would look at Wilson Contreras here against the lefty. I would look at Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Gorman. I really like. Cheaper options would be Jordan Walker, Burleson. Tyler O'Neill's actually kind of cheap. I would look at him. I mean, there's a lot of Cardinals bats that I would look at. Probably more tournaments. I think a Cardinal stack is more a tournament stack. I think the Reds are more of your cash stack in this game here. Mariners at the Rays is the next game. George Kirby versus Taj Bradley. Depending on what we're going to get, George Kirby's the second highest priced pitcher at 9,400. Not coming off a good game here. He's actually had a couple of stinkers and then a good game in between and then some good games here. He's faced Tampa Bay once this year already, 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks, had 27.4 fantasy points, which would be about 3 times value, which is exactly what we need here. So if you're paying, I kind of like George Kirby. I'd pay down a little bit at George Kirby than I would with Andrew Abbott here. So looking at that, that's where I'm at. Kirby. Then we've got Taj Bradley. Really don't know what to get out of him. A really good game against Cleveland. Well, not a really good game because his price was up to $8,000. It's dropped down a little bit. He is going up against Seattle, which is a good team. He's faced them once this year already, 3.1 innings, 9 hits allowed, 5 earned runs, and only 3 Ks. So he has been hit pretty well by this team, and I fully expect the team to do the exact same again. Probably avoiding Bradley, maybe a little bit of Kirby, but looking at the bats is kind of where I'd be at. Julio Rodriguez, Teoscar Hernandez, Eugenio Suarez, Cal Raleigh, all going to be big bats. I would go down a little bit. I have a good feeling about Mike Ford again. Again, yesterday I told you that I would be looking at Mike Ford a couple of days ago. Hit a home run for us. So we've been hitting pretty well. 2 nights ago I said, don't be surprised on Wednesday's video if Kyle Schwarber hits a Schwarbomb to lead off the game. And what does he do? It's exactly what he did. So not saying, just when you dig into the numbers a little bit, you can kind of see a trend. If Mike Ford is in there, he's a very cheap option against Taj Bradley. He's played in this ballpark before when he was with the Yankees. He can hit home runs. He will be a cheap option for you if you look at Mike Ford. Mike Ford is 3,200. He had a home run on September 6th, and that's when we took him. 3,000, and he got 16 fantasy points. Exactly what we needed. We absolutely killed it with that pick. A very cheap pick, and I feel like it feels something in my bones say if Mike Ford is in, I like him. J.P. Crawford will be another option. Dylan Moore is a cheaper option that I would look at. And then the flip side of that, if you're not going George Kirby, I would look at Brandon Lau. I would look at Josh Lowe a little bit. Paredes a little bit. And then if you want to pay up, you're paying up for Yandy Diaz. You're paying up for Randy Arozarena. You're also going to pay up for Luke Raley as well. All right, so next game, we've got the White Sox at the Tigers. The Tigers coming off a pretty impressive win against the Yankees, putting up 10 runs. Carlos Rodon sucks. We've got Mike Clevenger, who in 72 plate appearances has given up a .324 batting average to the Tigers here. So kind of looking at this, game log wise, coming off a very bad start against this exact same team, minus 10.2. After a very strong start against Oakland at 32 fantasy points. He's faced Detroit twice this year already. 15 hits allowed in 9 innings, 8 earned runs. Not ideal. I would still be looking at the Tigers here. Don't want anything to do with Mike Clevenger. Reese Olson going on the other side. Just faced the White Sox his last start, 7 innings pitched. I would look at Reese Olson. So in this situation, I'd be looking at the Tigers' bats. I would be looking at Spencer Torkelson for sure. Kerry Carpenter. Depending on the lineup that comes out, let's just take a look, because not a ton like jump out and we're like, I got to use this guy immediately outside of Torque and Carpenter. Parker Meadows, if he's in there, I don't think he played on Thursday. We could look at him. Matt Vierling, I'm okay with. Andre Lipshius. I think that's how you say his name. I don't mind him. Let's see. Should be very cheap. 2,700. So yeah, if you're playing in this game and you want to stack the Tigers, because I think a lot of people will be off of them, it'll be very cheap for you, depending on the lineup that comes out. The players I probably avoid in this one would be Miggy, Javi Baez. I don't really want. Zach McKinstry has actually looked terrible lately. He's in sort of a slump right now. I don't know. Andy Ibanez just had a home run on Thursday, so you can find some cheap options there. And I don't really want anything to do with any of the White Sox bats in this one. So that is the early 3 games. Not a ton to like there. Pitching-wise, if I'm using it, I'm avoiding Rom. I'm avoiding Bradley. I'm avoiding Clevenger. So it's really between Abbott, Kirby, and Olson for me. Might get a little bit of the savings with the Abbott and go down to Kirby and Olson there, and maybe call it a day right there. So we got the first game of the main slate. You got the Dodgers at the Nationals. You got Emmett Sheehan versus Mackenzie Gore. Again, just depending on what's coming in through here. I'm guessing Gore's down here. They're right next to each other. 7,200 for Gore, 6,800 for Sheehan. Gore here was on the personal bereavement list on Tuesday. So it's been a week since he's pitched. He pitched against Toronto, didn't really do much there. Splits-wise, has not faced the Dodgers this year. Pitching at home, he's got a 3.46 ERA. I still don't like that. I'm still going the Dodgers bats. And then you got Sheehan against Washington. Sheehan's okay. He went down to 6,800. Has not faced Washington this year. The problem is he's past couple of games against Oakland and Atlanta. Did well against Atlanta, but only went 4 innings. So only went 4 innings against Oakland too. So he's not going deep into games. Probably just going to focus on the Dodgers bats. I don't think it's going to be a mystery. I think it's going to be Mookie Betts at the top. I think it's going to be Freddie Freeman as well. I would look at Max Muncy a little bit. Since it is a lefty bat again, I think Will Smith is in play yet again. I think Ahmed Rosario is in play. Chris Taylor had a pretty big, I think he had a home run on Thursday. I would look at Chris Taylor as a righty. I would focus mainly on the righty bats there. And then Freddie Freeman, doesn't really matter with Freeman. He can hit lefties, he can hit righties, he can hit everybody. So that's what I'm looking at there. All out on a Dodger stack. It'll really just depend on the lineup that comes out, but I feel like you could probably make multiple different Dodger stacks and feel confident about it tonight. Marlins at the Phillies is next. You got Yuri Perez versus Chris Sanchez. They really haven't faced each other much. The big righty bat out of the Marlins lineup is gone, is Jorge Soler. He is on the IL, so we don't really have to worry about him. But let's look at the bats real quick. So looking at this, Yuri Perez is 8,800 game log wise. I would be looking at this. The problem is against Washington, which we did use him last week, and he was a good matchup for him. Only 4.2 innings there. 3 earned runs there, 3 home runs. So he did give up 3 home runs in that game, 9.7. He's the same exact price he's facing Philly, which, again, he hasn't faced before, or 2 at-bats, it said. Then you look at Perez on the road, 4.25. So he is a little bit worse on the road, which kind of bodes for let's go Phillies bats here. So this might be the first time that I've seen Yuri Perez on a lineup that I'm not in love with. And then Chris Sanchez here. Game logs, bad game against the Angels, good game against St. Louis, an okay game against Washington. Splits-wise, has not faced Miami this year. Pitching at home, he is worse at home. So that just right there, worse at home for the pitcher, worse on the road for the other one. I kind of am looking at the bats. So the bats that I'd look at, Jake Berger I'd look at. I think Jazz might be hurt. I think he left early on Thursday, but it's not updated yet. Let me see if he's got day-to-day or something on my season-long fantasy league. No, nothing. He just got pulled. For whatever reason, got pulled, and that's it. So nothing much there. So he's probably in. He would be an option I'd look at, even though it's a lefty-on-lefty matchup there. Jesus Sanchez I would look at. Josh Bell. Josh Bell is probably my number 2 bat on there. I think it would go Jake Berger, then Josh Bell I would look at there. Maybe a little bit of Garrett Hampson too. So kind of Garrett Hampson and then focus on the red here. I don't mind that. And then again, they're already out of the playoffs. We already know that. And we kind of can figure that they're going to throw some new batters out there, just depending what the lineup looks like. And then Phillies, on the other hand, Kyle Schwarber at the top. I would definitely be looking at Kyle Schwarber. I'd be looking at Bryce Harper. I don't know if Trey Turner will be back. He was on the paternity because his wife has given birth. He's probably not going to be back in this game. I would look at Alec Boehm. You want to get a little bit crazy. You want to go down salary. Pache, Bryson Stott, maybe even Jake Cave if Jake Cave is actually in that lineup there. So that's kind of what I'd look at. I don't really like the pitching in this one. I kind of like the bats more so. Then we got the Brewers at the Yankees. You got Colin Ray versus Luis Severino. Severino has looked decent 2 starts ago, and his last start, not so much. But again, we'll look at him. He's going to be down here. Yeah, he's going to be down at 5,500, which is nuts for his price. Faced Houston. It was Houston. They're obviously a good team. We know they're a good team. He went 4 innings in that game, 4 earned runs, only 3 strikeouts. Didn't look good. Then against Detroit, he went 7 innings, had 8 Ks, looked very, very good. Now he's got a better matchup than he did against Houston. But again, Milwaukee's a good team this year. So it really depends on what Sevy we're going to get in this game. For 5,500, I'll have exposure to him at 5,500. If he was like 7,000 or 8,000, I would say just completely wiped away. I don't want anything to do with him there. Then Colin Ray, 6,400. Is he an opener? Yeah, he hasn't gone 5 innings in 2 starts against Philly and Pittsburgh. The Yankees, he has not faced them this year. He's only faced a total of 5 in his career, 5 plate appearances, giving up a 600 batting average. So that's what? 4 hits, or 3 hits in that. So not much going on. Colin Ray, though, I'm probably avoiding him, looking at just the offenses in this one. I just don't know. Again, like I said, I will have some exposure to Sevy because of his price. But if you're not going with Sevy, Christian Yelich, I don't be surprised if he hits a monster home run in this stadium. I would not be surprised at all. Same thing with William Contreras I'll look at. Carlos Santana is another lefty bat that I would look at there. I'm looking at Willy Adames. Rowdy Tellez, he's played in the stadium multiple times, being as he was with Toronto for a couple of years and came up facing the Yankees. Flip side of that, if you're not going with Colin Ray, Aaron Judge didn't have a hit yesterday, but I think he'll bounce back here. Stanton I'll look at. Jason Dominguez I would definitely look at. Everson Pereira I'm okay with. I'm guessing we don't see Bowers. We won't see Higashioka. We'll see Austin Wells. DJ LeMahieu and Gleyber Torres are both heating up a little too late this year. But Torres had another home run yesterday. I think he had 25. I think he's at 25. I would look at him. I would look at Austin Wells. Maybe Oswald Peraza will be the bats that I look out for the Yankees in this one. So a little bit of Sevy just because we know he's got good stuff. He had a good start 2 starts ago, and he's only 5,500. But offenses for both probably more so than pitching. Royals at the Blue Jays is next. Colin Snyder versus Yusei Kikuchi. Now, I feel like Kikuchi's coming off the IL because I haven't seen I don't think I've said his name in a very long time. I could be wrong, but we'll definitely look at this. I don't know anything about Colin Snyder. He's going to be an opener, so we're not going to worry about that. Toronto bats would be what we'd look at. And then Alec Marsh will be the long relief dude. Alec Marsh, game logs, hasn't faced Toronto this year, pitching on the road. He's got a 5.94. I mean, he's high up there too. So probably looking at the Toronto bats. And then where is Kikuchi? There he is. 8,200 last. No, he did just pitch. So I don't know what. I'm just crazy. Not the best start again. It was at Colorado though, so that's not saying much. Then you got Cleveland, an okay start there. Not a good start against Baltimore. So he's been up and down. 3.63 ERA is not what I want to see when he's facing Kansas City. He's already faced them once this year. Only went 5 innings, 1 earned run, 2 Ks. Didn't do a lot there. And at 14.9, that would not get the 2 times value that we need at 8,200. So looking at that, I might be focusing on the offenses. And if I would have told you, or you'd have told me 4 months ago that I would be focusing on Kansas City offense more and more every day, I would have said you're crazy. For sure. MJ Melendez would be one I'd look at. Nelson Velasquez. Seems like he's hitting home runs every time I look in the box score. He's got 3 straight home runs. That's what I was going to say. Let's make it 4 in Toronto. Let's make it 4 for Nelson Velasquez in Toronto. I would look at Nelson Velasquez. I would look at Bobby Witt Jr., Salvi Perez, Michael Massey, Edward Olivares. These are all ones that I feel confident about. Then you get down into the deep waters, and you look at Drew Waters. That's called a segue. You can look at Drew Waters for a cheap option. Michael Massey, Nick Pratto are cheaper options. Freddie Furman, if he's in there. I don't know if he'll be in there. And then the flip side, since we don't really know what we're going to get out of the opener for Kansas City, we do know that the long relief pitcher has like a very high ERA on the road. Brings me to Vlad, who's let me down more than he's not, though. I would look at Vlad. I would look at George Springer. I would look at Alejandro Kirk as a cheaper option. Brandon Belt would be another option. Brandon Belt's due for a home run. It's been a couple of games since he's had a home run. So I will mainly focus. I kind of like both offenses here. I think I'll mainly focus on Toronto offense, but I will sprinkle in a couple of stacks of the Royals bats that we just talked about. Next game, Baltimore Orioles at the Boston Red Sox. You got Kyle Bradish versus Tanner Houck. Now, we just stacked against Houck his last start, but let's look at Bradish at 9,200. Game logs, he's coming off really good games here. His price has gone down just a little bit. He was in Arizona. He's faced Boston once this year already, but got lit up. 2.1 innings, 8 hits, 7 earned runs. Let's see if this was in Boston. Nope, it was at home in Baltimore. Boston, obviously, if you've been to the website, you go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, you can see that the Fenway gives up a ton of runs, where they rank the slugging, the home runs, the runs, everything is there. They do give up a home run. So at 9,200, I can't trust Kyle Bradish here. And then Tanner Houck, like I said, we just stacked against it. Was it Houston? No, it was Kansas City. We actually stacked because it was that is a pitcher's park for him. 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks. Not enough at 10.7. So he really hasn't hit value since June 10th. He was hurt and he came back. So it's been a while since he's hit value. Again, he's faced Baltimore twice this year. 10 innings pitched, 6 earned runs, 7 of them. 7 total runs with 6 earned, 2 home runs. Not looking good. I would definitely be looking at the offenses, not looking at pitching in this game. Let's take a look at the offenses, though. Again, it's going to be... obviously, we're looking at Adley Rutschman. We're looking at Gunnar Henderson, Ryan Mountcastle, Santander. I would look at a little bit of Austin Hayes, maybe Jordan Westberg for cheaper options. Ryan O'Hearn would be a cheap option, but I don't know if he'll be in there. And then the flip side of that, Devers at home. I absolutely love Rafael Devers. Put him in there. Tristan Casas, put him in there. Justin Turner, I'm okay with. Yoshida, I'm okay with as well. I'm guessing that's Caden Rafaela. Let's see if... He's 2,800. Done a couple of things. He started this game, did not start this game. So it just depends on if he's going to start. Seeing as how he's an outfield / shortstop, you're going to get that versatility if he's in there. I don't mind him for a cheap option. I won't be all over him, but for a cheap option, I'll look at him. Might look at Adam Duvall as well. Just really depends on what we like when the lineups come out. So I'm avoiding both of these pitchers. I'm looking at both offenses. Pirates at the Braves, you got Mitch Keller versus Bryce Elder. Now, I thought Mitch Keller did he not just pitch? Or was that 5 days ago already? Or he was going to? I don't know. I don't know what I thought. I mean, Mitch Keller's had some good games lately. He's hit value. He's almost hit 3 times value in a row. Now he's got to face Atlanta. He just faced Atlanta back on August 8th. Gave up 3 earned runs. Had 4 Ks in that one. It's the only time he's faced them this year. Now he's going down to Atlanta, where it's still going to be hot and humid. The ball will fly out of there. They just put up a bunch of runs against St. Louis. Probably going to avoid Mitch Keller. Anytime the Braves are in there, obviously it's a Braves type of stack, type of night. I don't think it shouldn't be a shocker. Then you got Bryce Elder. Game logs, he has not hit value for a while. It's been since August 15th. Splits-wise, he's faced Pittsburgh once this year already. 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs in that game. Kind of probably avoiding both pitchers. Probably looking at the bats in this one. So let's take a look at the bats for both Pittsburgh and Atlanta, and we'll go from there. Brian Hayes had a home run the other night. I really like him. Brian Reynolds I'll look at. Jack Sawinski. We do see that Andrew McCutchen is out for the rest of the year. A partial tear of his Achilles, so he is out. So that opens up a roster spot for another outfielder, just depending. Joshua Palacios would be a cheap option. I don't mind him. That's probably all I like, though. These 4. Then on the flip side, the Braves. Really depends on the Braves lineup that comes out. Austin Riley was actually out for Thursday's game. I don't know why, though. I have no idea why he was actually out, so that is definitely something to monitor. But if he's in, I do like him. But, I mean, look, the team is batting like 270 as a team this year, which is nuts. So anyone on this team could go. Matt Olson, I think, has 4 straight games with a home run. Couldn't he make it 5? Austin Riley had a day of rest as long as he's not hurt. I would look at him. Ronald Acuna had 2 home runs on Thursday. I mean, all of these say, look at me, stack against it. So I'm stacking both sides. I will obviously be more heavy on the Braves side. I will look at the Pittsburgh Pirates side, though, as well. Athletics at the Rangers, you got Paul Blackburn versus Jordan Montgomery. Blackburn, 57 plays. It's very hard to take. Obviously, we know that Houston just dominated. Texas. They're coming back with a vengeance. They're at home still, facing an Oakland team. I'm stacking Texas. Jordan Montgomery, I'll take Jordan Montgomery against Oakland for sure. And let's just look at the bats. So there's nothing I want in there. Montgomery, I'm okay with. Paul Blackburn, I'm off of. And I'm stacking Texas. So Corey Seager, he's due for a home run because it's been a couple at-bats since he has hit one. Marcus Semion's coming off a game where he had 2 home runs. Adolis Garcia is now on the IL, so he is out. That's a big bat that is out. I really like Mitch Garver against lefties, so I don't really like him here. I would look at Nate Lowe. So I'm looking at Corey Seager. I'm looking at Nate Lowe. I'm looking at Jonah Heim, Marcus Semien, those 4, and then mix and match. Whichever ones are going to be in the lineup, maybe a Jankowski at home for a cheap option, or Ezekiel Duran, or Leody Taveras. It really just depends. So I'm avoiding Paul Blackburn. I'm avoiding the Oakland Bats. I'm looking at Texas, and I'm looking at Jordan Montgomery today. Padres at the Astros. You got Blake Snell, who is starting to pitch very, very well. He's got some fantastic numbers. I think he's leading in the Cy Young for NL. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. Someone Google, that could be your comment for the day. Someone Google who's leading the National League Cy Young as of now. But Blake Snell's been pretty damn good. He's got a negative matchup here against Houston, who hits lefties well. We know this, so let's look at the numbers a little bit. But Blake Snell, I don't think he's faced him this year. He's the most expensive pitcher at $10,800. Pitching on the road, he's actually better on the road than he is at home, which is surprising in 2 less starts. Has not faced Houston like this year. $10,800. His numbers are good. We know this. Coming off 29.3, he had 8 Ks there, 9, 8, 5, 7. My problem is Houston can hit lefties. And at 10,000, I'll have some exposure to Blake Snell, but at 10,800, it's kind of tough to even I don't feel confident about his price with his matchup. But he's been pitching very, very well this season. And then Hunter Brown, I believe we've stacked against him the last couple of starts. Let's see. I think it was Hunter Brown. Yeah, we stacked the Yankees against him, and he gave up 3 earned runs in that game. 5 runs total, 1 home run. So I do remember that. Really good game against Detroit. Everyone does except for Carlos Rodon. Not a good game against Seattle. So he's been up and down. I don't trust him. I would look at San Diego bats here. Pitching at home, he's got a 5.56 ERA at home. I'm looking at San Diego bats. So the bats that I would be looking at, Fernando Tatis, he had a home run the other night that I didn't take him in. I would look at him. I would look at Juan Soto. I would look at Manny Machado. Gary Sanchez is out for the year, so he is done. Trent Grisham I could look at. I don't mind Trent Grisham. So, yeah, these 4 right here I don't mind. Gary Sanchez is out for the year. I would look at Ha-Seong Kim a little bit. Maybe some Bogarts as well. Flip side of that, if you're not going with Blake Snell, Michael Brantley's back. Jordan hits lefties and righties. I don't know if you saw that home run that he hit off Scherzer, but it looked like it was going to be a scorching line drive 5 feet off the ground, and it smoked out in Texas and went over the fence for a home run. It was crazy. Yannier Diaz, I love him against lefties. He would be one I'd look at. Kyle Tucker hits lefties very well as well. And if you don't believe me, go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, hover MLB, go to batter splits, and you can see all of the active batters that have at least 60 plate appearances this year against handedness. They will be on this list. Because that the 60 is kind of that's the mark where I feel confident about BVP. I feel confident about splits. They've seen it enough. So, I would definitely look at these 4 right here. Jose Abreu had 2 home runs the other day, had a grand slam and a 3-run home run. So people I think will be chasing after him. So I might be off of him. But Alex Bregman against the lefty I'll look at. Jose Altuve off a lefty I definitely look at as well. So I'm off of Hunter Brown. I'll have a little bit of exposure to Snell, but I'll probably be mainly focusing on the Padres bats against Brown here. Then we got the Mets at the Twins. You got Kodai Senga versus Dallas Keuchel. It's a lefty here. I kind of probably feel pretty good about Pete Alonso hitting a home run. But let's take a look at the numbers. So Kodai Senga, if you want to save 800 here, game logs coming off a fantastic game against Seattle, a really good game against the Angels, a good game against St. Louis. He's had really good games in a row. He's had, 5 straight games of 20-plus fantasy points. He's coming off arguably his best start of the year with 12 Ks against Seattle, who have been hitting well. Has not faced Minnesota this year. Pitching on the road, he is worse on the road at 382 in 11 starts, but I kind of like Kodai Senga here. I feel more confident his price at 10,000 than I do at Snell at 10,800. Then Keuchel, I want nothing to do with him. Does he even go? He doesn't even go deep into games. Still don't know how he's still on this team. Pitching at home, 0.55 ERA in 2 starts, that I don't care. I'm all over a stack here. So Mets stack, I would definitely look at Brandon Nimmo. I would look at switch hitting Francisco Lindor. I would look at Pete Alonso against the lefty. Wouldn't be surprised if he hits a home run here. Maybe Jeff McNeil a little bit. You want to get even crazier, Mark Vientos for a very cheap option. DJ Stewart would be a cheaper option. Maybe even Dan Vogelbach. But again, Vogelbach is only a tournament option completely. Do not trust him in cash at all. And then if you're not going Singa and you're looking at Twins bats, Kepler, Matt Wallner I'd look at. Royce Lewis has been on fire lately. Julian, Jorge Polanco, maybe a little bit. Maybe Kyle Farmer a little bit too. So I'm going to focus on Singa. I'm going to focus on the Mets stack against Dallas Keuchel. I don't want anything to do with Dallas Keuchel. Guardians at the Angels, you got Logan Allen versus Griffin Canning. Really haven't seen each other very much. But Logan Allen, where is he? Have they moved him up? He's 8,400. Game logs, he didn't hit value there. He's hit value back on August 15th was his last time he hit value. Splits-wise, he's faced the Angels once this year, 4.1 innings, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Not enough. They are going against the lefty, so I would look at I feel more confident about some of the bats for the Angels, which we will look at. And then Canning against Cleveland. Game logs, he's actually been pretty good. I mean, it's Oakland and New York Mets. Splits-wise, he hasn't faced Cleveland this year. 8,800, I'm okay with. He is a little bit better on the road than he is at home. So I will look at, or he actually is pitching at home. He is worse at home, but at 8,800, I feel a little bit more confident at that price than I do for a Hunter Brown, Yuri Perez, Kyle Harrison, and the other one. So looking at that, let's take a look at the bats real quick. So I don't know if Ohtani's going to be in there. We could look at Brandon Drury against the lefty. I kind of feel confident about that. Luis Rengifo, I will look at a little bit. Randall Grichuk was put on waivers. Now, I don't know when he can be claimed. I don't know how long it goes. So he can still play up until then. So he might be in there. I'd look at Randall Grichuk against the lefty. Just depends, right? Unless he got claimed today. Yeah, no. Okay. I didn't think so. If he is in, I do like him. I just don't know if he's actually going to be in. So, yeah, there's not a ton outside of like Drury, Grichuk, maybe Trey Cabbage, Luis Rengifo. That's basically it. I kind of like looking at the other side. I mean, I think I'm looking at Griffin Canning. This might be a game that I just avoid. There's just so many other games that we can look at offensive-wise that I think we can go away from this game completely. So I might be just avoiding this game 100%. Then the final game on the slate, battle of the amazing lefties. You got Ty Block versus Kyle Harrison. This is a pitcher's park, though. So we'll look at the numbers. I knew they were going to be down here. Ty Block here, the problem is he's actually gone kind of deep. 6 innings there, 7 innings there. Splits-wise, has not faced San Francisco this year. At 5,200 in this ballpark, I will have him in some tournaments. But I also have some San Francisco bats, too. And then, where's Kyle Harrison? Kyle Harrison's up here at 9,000. Game logs, not a good game against San Diego. A really good game against Cincy, not a good game against Philly. So in 3 starts, he has 1 good start. Splits-wise, he's pitching at home, which he's only pitched once. Had a no ERA there, so it's going to look a little bit different. I'm probably not paying $9,000 for Kyle Harrison. I would rather look at the bats. Now let's take a look real quick at these bats, just in case. Battle of the lefties here. I would be looking at Brendan Rodgers for Colorado. I'd look at Ryan McMahon, Nolan Jones. Tovar would be an option. Cheaper option would be Brenton Doyle. Elias Diaz here against the lefty. My problem is with Diaz, though. I think it's been a while since he's done anything. I mean, he against Arizona had 10 fantasy points, but when's the last time he hit a home run? It's August 23rd was the last time he hit a home run. He only has 13 home runs. A cheap option at $3,700 for catching, though. For tournaments, I'm okay with. That's basically it. I don't really like Colorado bats. And then Giants bats, if we're not taking Ty Block at 50 at less than 6,000, you could look at Austin Slater against the lefty, Mitch Haniger against the lefty, Lamont Wade Jr., Wilmer Flores. Don't be surprised if Wade and Flores both hit home runs here. Paul DeYoung against the lefty, I'm okay with him as well. So there you have it. There's the breakdown of the pitching and the hitting on the slate. It is a way better pitching slate and hitting slate than the 6 total games we had on Thursday. But let's take a little gander at the top 10 bats and pitching after 2,000 simulations, brought to you by FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Number 1 is Ronald Acuna again against Mitch Keller. Number 2 is Mookie Betts. Number 3 is Max Muncy. Number 4 is Aaron Judge. 5 is Freddie Freeman. 6, Corey Seager. 7, Brian Reynolds. 8 is Adley Rutschman. 9 is Spencer Torkelson. And 10 is George Springer. So out of the top 10, we had 3 Dodgers and then 1 of every other team. Pitching-wise, Kyle Harrison, it's got Kyle Harrison number 1 right now. Okay, because I didn't really like a lot of the numbers against Colorado, so maybe Kyle Harrison will give him a little bit of exposure. Yuri Perez against Philly, I don't know if I want that. Kodai Senga, Griffin Canning, George Kirby, Taj Bradley, Colin Ray, Yusei Kikuchi, Zach Gallen, and number 10 is Emmett Sheehan. So out of the top 10, there are just a few that I don't know if I agree with right now. Now, when you watch this, depending on what time you watch this, could be later in the day, these have probably changed. About an hour to 2 hours before first pitch on the main slate, so 6:05 Central, 7:05 Eastern, I will have 10,000 simulations, and they will be uploaded to the website. So could be different by the time you watch. This really just depends. So that's what I've got in this video. Any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I know we can get to 50 likes on a Friday, so that's what we're going to strive for. Good luck on this slate. Let me know how you did in Thursday Night Football. And if you're ready for NFL, let me know, because I got my player pool here. I think I'm going to bring that out for a video. And we're going to look at some numbers. We're going to definitely, hopefully, bring home the bacon this weekend. So that's what I've got, guys. Good luck. And as always, bring home that bacon. Peace.